Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today on a session on how to build a winning retail buyer deck using digital product sampling. I'm Marie Chevrier. I'm the founder at Sampler, and I was really excited about today's discussion because I'm joined with an amazing expert on the subject, Christine Smith.
Hi, everyone. I'm Christine Smith, as Marie said. I have nearly 25 years experience in the consumer packaged goods industry, both on the manufacturing and on the supplier side. 19 of those years were at Nielsen Canada, where, among other things, I headed up their analytics department, I managed their innovation team, and most recently was VP of client service there. I joined Sampler in 2021 as head of our client success team. So Marie asked me to join the session today because of my experience working directly with CPG manufacturers at Nielsen. And I've seen companies do this well, and I've also seen them do it not so well. And the most important thing for you to know, first and foremost, is that the retail buyer is concerned with whether or not your product will sell and whether it's going to offer them incremental dollars. So price, scalability, uniqueness, fit with market trends, they all help build that story. But the focus should be what's in it for them and not what's in it for you.
That's a really important point, Christine. And a lot of people, when I talk to them about retail buyer decks, the first question that they say is, well, what should be included in it? What should be the structure? And so today, as we walk you through the best practices, you'll also be learning about some of the key slides you should be including into your retail buyer deck. Things like your company story, your product overview, the feature and benefits of products, consumer research potentially that can actually support some of your sales and category data. They'll want to hear about your competition and how you are different. They'll want to hear about pricing and distribution, and ultimately how you plan on supporting their retail locations with marketing and promotion support. And the most important thing out of any presentation is closing with next steps. What should they expect from you? When can you expect to hear back? And ultimately, where are you going to take the conversation next? So let's go right into it. And let me start by telling you a little bit about how digital product sampling works, what it is, and how it can be a really good tool for helping you build the slides you need most in your retail buyer deck. Digital product sampling is a way for you to not only drive great trial and awareness with new potential customers, but you can also collect data. You can understand how consumers feel about your product, and ultimately you can leverage that data in order to tell a compelling retail buyer story. So let me tell you exactly how the digital sampling experience works on Sampler. Sampler is a technology that enables consumers to claim samples by first connecting with us online. Consumers come to our website or our web app in order to come and claim samples. But the first step they have to do is they have to actually fill a profile. So we'll ask them questions like, which grocery store do you shop at? Or do you have any dietary restrictions? And that zero party data enables us to customize a list of products that will be valuable to them, a list of products that they'll love to discover. And that list of product could include yours. So if we'd work together, what we would do is we would decide who your target market is. And we would make sure that your product gets only into the hands of people who fit that target market. The consumer would opt in to receiving your product, and then they would receive in this beautiful box your product alongside others to review and to leave feedback on. What you'll see is that as a brand, this is a really great way for you to actually measure the first trial of that product with that consumer, and also to continue the conversation. One of the big tools we're going to be using to create your retail buyer deck is feedback from ratings and reviews. So after a consumer has actually received your product, they automatically receive a rating and review survey that gets sent by Sampler in order to collect feedback. We can use that feedback, which you can customize to answer specific questions that you might have, like potentially how would our product compare to a competitive brand that you currently purchase, or other things like that. And ultimately, we can use that data in order to build your slides. You'll also be able to collect CRM. So if you're looking to build your email list, this is a really good way of doing that. You'll also be able to send follow-up coupons to drive to purchase and conversion. And you'll also be able to collect some user-generated content, which makes for some really good slides, as you'll see later. And then the last thing is that all of the insights you collect will be really easily digestible in Sampler's real-time analytics dashboard. Speaking of the analytics dashboard, within the analytics dashboard, one of the things that I'm really proud of is one of our newest feature, which is our sentiment and topic analysis tool, which ultimately is a machine learning powered feature that will really bubble up things like how are consumers feeling about your product and what are they saying about it. So as you can see here, we have a sentiment meter, and we have the ability to also filter by key topics, like potentially scent, or potentially things like people are talking about taste. This will allow you to do that.
Great, thanks, Marie. So we're going to walk you through a pitch deck for a fictitious brand, Ola Granola, as they try to get listed at Kroger. Now, one of the things that really attracted me to digital sampling is the ability to derive insights from your executions in a way that you just can't do with traditional sampling activities. And we use some of these insights from Ola Granola's fictitious digital sampling campaign. So everyone loves a great origin story, and I definitely encourage you to share yours. And the retailer obviously wants to understand exactly what your product is and what the benefits are that it brings to the table. So in this example from Hola Granola, we talk about its origins as fitness enthusiasts or with fitness enthusiasts, but also how indispensable it is for all people in the family as they lead hectic lives. We also talk about the benefits of Ola Granola, both from a product and lifestyle point of view. But these should be part of the deck, not the focus of the deck. So digital sampling can be a great way to confirm the features and benefits that resonate most with consumers, as well as potentially some category data. Now, what could that look like in your retailer deck? Well, you can see for Ola Granola, 4/5 of consumers who shop at Kroger rate this product at 5 stars. So obviously it's a product that they would love to find in Kroger's four walls. 80% of Kroger shoppers say the price was in line with their expectations. And 60% of claimants said they'd like to find the product in the granola bar aisle and also at checkout. So these are great data points to share with a retailer. And here we have some great and authentic verbatims from actual consumers in the wild. So talking about the perfect amount of crunch and chew, how much they enjoyed it, and how they would be definitely purchasing in the future. And it's definitely made the top 3 of their top 3 lists. So these are, again, great data points to share with the retailer and create a great story. And finally, a retailer is going to want to know that you're bringing valuable consumers into their stores. So whether that's a consumer that fits with their key demographics or are attractive in some way. So in this example, which is one that I actually used with a client recently, Ola Granola significantly over-indexes with consumers who purchase natural food online at least once a week. So knowing that e-commerce is really important to Kroger, they're now in the top 10 for retail e-commerce in the States, this will make these consumers extra attractive. And for those of you who are used to traditional sampling, you're probably going to be wondering how we're going to get those insights from a digital sampling campaign. And at Sampler, you're able to sample directly with your ideal consumers and choose from over 700 segments. So for example, you could sample with health-conscious consumers who shop at Kroger in Columbus, Ohio. It's pretty niche. We then deliver your samples to those consumers so they can try your products, they can physically experience them within the comforts of their home. So they're using your tomato sauce in their kitchens. They're using your cleaning products in their bathroom. So Ola Granola, they're going to be throwing them in their yoga bag and trying it post-workout. And after they try your product, we then ask them to answer a survey. So we ask them to rate your product and leave a review. We ask them what price they would expect to pay for your product within ranges. So we could potentially ask that question. and getting an understanding of where they would expect to find your product inside the store so you can make a recommendation around shelving or secondary locations. So these are, again, just examples of the types of questions that you can ask. And we can then also cross-tab the results of those surveys across many different attributes. So even if they weren't included in that initial targeting. So this, for example, could be how we determined that Ola granola had consumers who are high frequency online shoppers of natural products, for example. At the beginning of today's session, I mentioned that the most important thing that a retailer wants to hear is the size of the prize. They're going to want to know what sales you anticipate securing within their four walls. And you could back it up with consumer research. So 75% of those who sampled said they're likely to purchase. And Kroger shoppers expect to buy the product at least 2 times a month. So you could start to build out that sales story. Now, I know that forecasting is as much an art as it is a science, but Sampler can help you validate and hone in on some of the most important elements. So you can start by sampling directly with consumers who shop at a specific retailer, in this case, Kroger. Again, you have the ability to survey those consumers both before and after they try your product. And you can ask them questions like how often they buy the category, where would they expect to find your product, what the product it substitutes, if any, and what price they would expect to pay. And this is now where the art and the science come in. And what I have often seen in my past is brands starting with the size of the prize and then backing into what that would mean from a penetration, a price, number of units that a consumer would be required to purchase in a year. So as an example, if you're hearing from consumers that 70% of them want to buy your product post-trial, and they would expect to pay between $4 and $5 for your product and would purchase it on average 6 times a year, but the math suggests that you need to have 100% of those consumers purchase it for $10 10 times a year, you probably need to go back and adjust your forecast. Similarly, you can start with the data and work your way forward with the forecast. So there are many different ways that you can approach it, but the important thing is that you've got the data to support your assertions. And finally, through our platform, you're able to get at some really interesting demographic and psychographic information about your consumers. Are they larger families that drive larger basket sizes? Are they conscious shoppers who have a high willingness to pay for eco-friendly products, for example? Are they beauty enthusiasts who are likely to buy a wide range of health and beauty products once they're in the retailer's store? So remember, the retailer isn't just interested in the impact to your brand or even necessarily the category. They'd love to hear that your product is going to bring in high value consumers through their real or virtual doors. And I'm going to hand it back over to Marie.
Another really important part of your retail buyer deck is how you'll compare to competitors. At the end of the day, what we have to remember is that when we are gaining retail shelf space, we're actually taking shelf space away from somebody else. So, one of the most important slides in your deck is going to be this one. It's basically a table that compares you versus other competitors in this space. In this particular case, Hola Granola is actually competing in more than one category. It's competing against protein bars and shakes and granola bars. And the reason is because it's such a versatile product. And so the story that they have to tell is ultimately that they have some of the benefits that you see on the left side. But they really also have to support that with consumer data. So on the next slide, what you'll see is that we are actually able to leverage some of the ratings and review data in order to really reaffirm this story. With a question like, which products would you use Hola Granola instead of? We're able to show that many consumers would replace Hola Granola versus their regular granola bar, their protein bar, and their protein shake. So showcasing that there's an opportunity here to optimize shelf space with one product that serves different needs. What we're also doing is we're also highlighting in the ratings and reviews some of the key components of our competitive strategy. So on the previous slide, we had seen that we were competing with our whole food ingredients. And this rating and review is really highlighting the whole food based importance from a consumer standpoint. Portable snack, great for traveling, busy days. Those are all things that help the retail buyer try to understand who the perfect purchaser of this product is. In this last part of your retail buyer deck, we want to help the retail buyer understand how you're going to drive buzz for your product in their stores. On this slide, what you're going to see is what Hola Granola's promotional plan is to drive velocity at Kroger. What's really innovative about the plan is with direct to home sampling via sampler, this brand will actually be driving demand for Hola Granola ahead of launch. They'll be distributing samples before product even hits shelf. Once the product hits shelf, Hola Granola is going to commit to in-store redeemable coupons, which will drive consumers to go into store to get a free full-size product and ultimately drive velocity off shelf really early into the partnership. Every single time they distribute a sample or a coupon, they're going to be collecting CRM, they're going to be collecting emails, and that's going to allow them to grow their email newsletter to as much as 100K. And what they're proposing here to Kroger is that they will leverage Sampler in order to build that list specifically for Kroger shoppers. So Kroger can now expect to have a Kroger specific email newsletter with Hola Granola. The other thing is they're going to collect a ton of reviews in UGC. These reviews and their user-generated content will be gold at collecting as much as 3,000 e-commerce reviews within 3 months of launch. And they'll be able to ensure they hit this by targeting consumers who have high propensity to review via sampler. And then they'll run a user-generated contest that user-generated content contest in order to really take photos of the product on shelf, which will help everybody understand that Hola Granola is distributed at Kroger and easy to find there. Well, thank you so much. This wraps up our best practices for creating a retail buyer deck leveraging digital product sampling. We hope that we can help you in creating your retail buyer deck. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to email us at the email below. Thank you.
Thank you.